The third question here says, Preeti reached the metro station and found that the escalator was not working. She walked up the stationary escalator in time t1. On other days, if she remains stationary on the moving escalator, then the escalator takes her up in time t2. The time taken by her to walk up the moving escalator is. So, the first thing to remember here is that, irrespective of the velocity with which Preeti is moving, the distance that she covers along the length of the escalator will exactly be the same, that is s. That is the first point to be noted. We'll now look at the problem case by case. In the first case, it is mentioned that Preeti walks up on a stationary escalator. The escalator is not working. In that case, the velocity with which she is traveling will be Vp, velocity of Preeti. And the distance that she has to travel is s, the length of the escalator. And that happens in time t1, that is given in the question. So from this data, we can say that Vp, velocity of Preeti, will be equal to distance by time, that is s by t1. Now, in the second case, Preeti is staying stationary and the escalator is moving. In that case, the velocity with which she is moving would be the velocity of the escalator, purely the velocity of the escalator, that is Ve, velocity of the escalator. The distance that she then would have to travel is again s, and the time taken for that process is given in the question as t2. From that data, we can say that velocity of the escalator Ve will be equal to the distance covered by time taken, that is s by t2. Now, in the third case, that is where we need to find a solution for, Preeti is walking up a moving escalator. So both the escalator and Preeti are moving. And in that case, the net velocity will be Vp plus Ve, because the escalator is moving and on top of that Preeti is moving as well. So their velocities would add up. And that is the velocity, the net velocity would become Vp plus Ve, and the distance to be covered is still s. The time taken t is unknown, and that is what we should find out. We can say that from this data, t will be equal to, time taken will be equal to distance by velocity, that is s divided by Vp plus Ve. V here is Vp plus Ve. Now, this answer is correct, but it is not in the options. So we'll have to do some replacements here. We should replace Vp and Ve with the corresponding expressions here, and that would give us t equals s divided by, in place of Vp, we'll put s by t1, and in place of Ve, we'll put s by t2. Now, we can strike off s from all the terms, so what we'll have finally is 1 by t1 plus 1 by t2. If we add up those fractions, finally we'll have t is equal to 1 by t2 plus t1 divided by t1 t2, that is equal to t1 t2 divided by t1 plus t2. That is the final answer, and from the options, option D is the correct one, t1 t2 by t1 plus t2.